afternoon, Redhawks. Adam Bunting here with Stacy Chadwell, and we are going to be getting to know Stacy a bit this afternoon and learning more about our fall theatrical production. So Stacy is relatively new to CVU, joining us last year, so we thought it might be good to take a moment to do some introductions and have our community get to know Stacy a little bit. So we'd love to learn a little bit more about you.
Okay.
So I'd love to know, one, do you have like a go-to comfort food?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Must be. Or any bread-related food, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we talking like dark chocolate
Yes.
or milk chocolate?
Lake Champlain 57 dark is usually my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're dialed in.
I'm dialed pretty, it's not new. It's not a new habit. So it's on, it just always lives at home. And then anytime you can wrap it in bread, so like a croissant or something.
Oh, got it.
Chocolate croissant.
I thought you were just saying like a loaf of
that would not probably
Wonder
be
bread.
bad,
Okay.
but I've never tried it.
All right, let's move on to, do you have this is a big advisory question for us, a pet peeve? And if you ask my advisees, they will talk about like people chewing with their mouths open.
Yep.
What are some other pet peeves? Oh, I have one advisee who cannot stand to see teachers in sandals, like just completely
Oh,
horrifying.
that's a weird one.
Yeah. So any
okay.
pet peeves for us?
I have, it goes right to rage, so I don't know if it's a pet peeve, but idling cars.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
do not leave the building at 3:15.
I do not. That's when I'm right. Well, I'm in rehearsal then, so.
Okay, that's good.
So right, we'll have to put up those, those signs that idling is illegal, or turn your car off, because. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can find a healthier way to cope with that, but that hasn't happened yet.
No. Healthy coping mechanisms. Who needs them?
Okay.
All right. Next question is, let's go to a little more depth here. What brought you to the arts? Why theater? Those kinds of things.
It was kind of roundabout. I had an athletic career end with an injury, so when I could no longer compete. And in fact, had to have many surgeries. I couldn't really even do PE in high school. So music sort of caught me.
Yep.
And gave me something that I could do. And I had always loved it. I'd always, grown up singing in church or wherever, like anything. So, sorry, I'm hearing myself.
I know, it's
in
a
that.
little funny. Yeah.
I just noticed it. So,
Singing arts.
Singing
How'd you get
arts.
there? Yeah.
So I started doing that, and in high school, choir led to being on stage and acting. They were separate for a while, and then sort of put them together when I went to college.
What sport did you play?
Gymnastics.
Gymnastics. Excellent. I can see many injuries in gymnastics, probably, right?
It's true.
So tell us a little bit more about what it's like to put together a theatrical production. So what are the joys? What are the challenges? And what doesn't the average person know about actually putting together, this year, Amelie?
There is a lot of joy. For me, the simple joys are with one-on-one, moments of growth and little light bulb moments with students. Other moments of joy come when, obviously after a huge in-depth rehearsal, a whole scene or song is just nailed, and there's that every once in a while you get this moment of magic that when everything lines up and it sounds good and it looks good and everybody remembers what they're supposed to be doing. So that is obviously a great joy. It's really joyful, you'll see in this clip, to see people in the wings, the way that other students watch when they're waiting to go on, or they're very excited for each other and enjoying what's going on. And when you watch them when they don't know you're watching them, it's kind of sweet. Challenges, it sounds like a boring challenge, but one of the challenges is just pure scheduling, especially at this age, just because conflicts abound and trying to get everything. We have 44 people in the show, and we have another 30 to 40 that are on the crews. So, and there's 10 teams of crews working. So sort of spinning all of those plates and getting things to all land at the same time is a challenge, but it's also a joy when it works.
Yeah.
And I think in this particular show, some of the stuff that we're dealing with is trauma and grief-related trauma and sort of breaking cycles, and we'll maybe get into that a little later, but it's been really nice to see what students are bringing to the table with that sort of subject matter.
So what would you, if you had to talk to yourself when you were in gymnastics before you got into the arts, what might you not have known about putting together a production, or what advice would you give to yourself?
What I would not have known maybe is how similar the end result ends up being, because I think in both, in anything that we do, that when there's a performance aspect, you train, you develop habits, you hone skills and crafts, and then it's all for this like moment of now can I be present and surrender everything and just trust the muscle memory, trust the preparation, and interact with my environment in a totally present way. So that's what I might not have known maybe going into it. That's similar. I think what I also, that it's accessible. That it's accessible, that you start where you are, and that it's really enjoyable. I don't, that it's, there's.
I think I see what you're saying. Like, you maybe don't foresee the final product at the beginning, but you can get there. And it's that work together that makes that happen. That's cool. So how do you, I'm going to look straight at the camera right now, because I'm going to talk about me and Dancing with the Stars. No, I'm not going to do that. But I did do it before. Anyway, I Danced with the Stars. I was a star.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not making this about me. But I was terrified to publicly.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget. And it's one dance I had to do for like 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yeah.
I was terrified I was going to forget.
Your moves?
My moves. I didn't trust my muscle memory. How do you work with actors and everyone to gain that confidence to know they can do it? I mean, you must deal with like stage fright and things like that all the time, right?
That's totally normal. If we tackle stage fright by the time students are, dealing with stage fright, it seems like we're trying to put out fires.
Right.
To get ahead of it, meditation.
Cool.
A strong meditation practice from the beginning. Because when we start talking about like character development, ideally we would meditate, do some character work, talk about psychology, fully form those characters, and so that when we're rehearsing, you're putting it into this like level of consciousness within yourself that it just feels very intuitive, because you're adding movement with the line, with the music, whatever. And we know with music too, especially with sung music, it unites both hemispheres. So we know that it's much easier to remember your ABCs when you sing it. Or like this is how we learn. And maybe with dancing, there wasn't a vocal component.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of what can be helpful, whether they know it or not.
You're probably glad there wasn't a vocal component. But if you want to,
you haven't had voice lessons.
Do you want to walk me through like a little warm up right now? We could do it on camera.
Oh, you want to?
Like, is this like Mr. Brownell who does this, or do you do? Should we try something right now?
Mr. Brownell in this environment is the music director.
Okay.
But I'm a director here, but I'm just a voice teacher most of the time.
So give me like one lecture one, like something like
me,
that.
Me. Can you do that?
I'm so embarrassed. I'm freaking out right now.
Well, you brought this on yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Can you just go whoo? So you're not tone deaf.
Okay.
All right. Good. Now
Not
then
really
you're gonna
good.
no, but it's okay.
Okay.
Me. Let's do whoo.
But
you did it.
I'm freaking out right
but
now.
You
I'm
did it.
Sweating. I have to stop this. Should we go to the clip? Should we go to the clip right now and then come back?
Yeah.
Because I got to get out of this moment.
You get out of it.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Wow. But I'm proud of you for doing it.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for putting yourself out there.
I'm sorry to my advisory and my family for that. Okay, let's go to the clip and then we'll come back.
Hi, I'm here at the rehearsal for the fall school musical Amelie, where they're just through that door rehearsing the opening number of the show. I'm here to give you a backstage view of everything that goes into putting these school productions on. So we don't want to disturb them too much, so I think we're going to go around and look at some of the other parts of backstage that go into putting this production on. So just here we have the costume area where all the people who work on the many costumes for putting on a production of this scale work. You can see they are hard at work creating the numerous ostentatious designs needed for a show like Amelie. And if we go just down this hallway here, we can get a glimpse at where the props are stored for the show. There aren't too many at the moment because the show is still early in production, but these shelves will soon be full of many, many, many things, as well as many signs informing actors not to touch any of it. We can now go around and get another view at the rehearsal and what's going on stage. So we're just watching the end of the opening number, moving into the second number of the show. The musical is almost entirely sung through, so there is not much time in between most of the songs. We're moving now into the second number of the show, World's Best Dad. So now we're headed further backstage into the band room to take a look at what the pit band is doing to get ready for, well, the show. Just through this door, they are hard at work, honing their craft. Well, we're here watching the band do their rehearsal, but we don't want to take up too much of their time, so we're going to move now back to behind the stage to take a look at what's going on stage. Seems that have just finished rehearsing and they're now going through notes for the rehearsal. A very important process of rehearsing, obviously, the bit where they improve upon it. So now we'll take a look at the chorus room where all of our music rehearsals happen. You can see some disassembled set pieces. These are also slowly being worked upon. So this is the chorus room. This is where all of our music rehearsals happen, where we learn all the music for the show. Currently, no one's in here. It's not being used for anything. But when there is a music rehearsal going on, you'll see chairs upon chairs of about 50 performers or so, all sitting and, well, trying their best to sing all the parts. Now we can take a look at where all of our sets are built in the shop. So this is the shop, and this is where all of the set building takes place. There's lots of equipment in here. This room is also used for the wood and metal working classes, and so not all of this is being used for making the sets at any one given time. But this is where the magic happens, where all of the beautiful things that you get to see on stage are created. Theatre, like a lot of art mediums, is reliant on a lot of pieces coming together, and theatre, more so than a lot of others, has people doing things all over at the same time, and we bring it all together at the very end to make a wonderful live performance, which hopefully will be the case with the full show.
Yes.
All right, so as we're here in the auditorium watching them get ready to rehearse another scene on stage, and thank you for joining us for this wonderful backstage tour where you get to see everything that goes into making these performances happen. Now, I best be going to get ready for my cue.
All right, we are live and back in the studio. I want to give a little shout out here to Stacy because while we are speaking, in the background, we are listening to Advisory 114.
114.
And we are hearing ourselves speaking as we're talking. So CVU show, folks, I don't know how you do it every week. It's hard.
We gotta soundproof this room.
We got to soundproof this room, but we also know if they're not listening. So
That makes us feel a little better. Yeah. Okay.
Frankie, how awesome is Frankie?
Delightful.
I would like to just kind of hang out with Frankie. I mean, that would be
Everybody
strange.
does.
I wouldn't do that, but you know, like I could spend some time, like I want to follow him around CVU with the camera all the time.
He's a wealth of knowledge too. Just like when in doubt, go into like ask him about, Tudor England and
yeah. I think he's in Brad Miller's advisory, and I think he's taught Brad Miller more than Brad's taught him. Would you agree with that? Do you know Brad at all?
I don't know Brad, but I do know Frankie, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, all right, yeah. Frankie's amazing. Okay, any other adults you want to give a shout out to? Adults, that sounds funny, but people who are working with the show?
Okay, so yes, this is important, and hopefully I'll remember everyone. So Cameron Brownell is a joy to work with, and he is our music director, so he works with 44 singers. Andy Miscavige is directing our pit and is glorious and has been here for a very long time, right? He's been here. He's been here for some time. It's pretty.
He and I overlapped when I was a student, maybe a short amount of time.
Just he feels like he's like that like really grounded, like okay, he knows the thing. Like Cameron and I are both newer, Mr. Brownell and I. So Andy and Cameron and then Carla Wietrich is our choreographer, and her boys just graduated within the last couple of years. She's glorious and comes with a like massive all this ballet knowledge, which is very appropriate for, contemporary ballet we get a lot of with Amelie because of the French whole, thing. Okay, so those are 4 important people. Jeff Tobruk is our TD. So
TD meaning?
A technical director. Okay. So he is in charge of sets and a lot of technical stuff. So Jeff is wonderful. Jason Fearon is our scenic director. So, and he has loved this story, Amelie, so much that he even visited like Montmartre and like stayed in the apartment where this was filmed and like has been to the cafe and all. So he's bringing a wealth of knowledge. Those are 5. Yep. Okay, but there's more. There's Ken Heights who manages the space and just does everything technical for us.
Just going to interject right here.
Yeah.
Ken and Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Always. We don't say thank you enough.
Ken, Gary, thank you. Because now with Amelie, there's an imaginative component. So there's basically a projector going on the entire show. So there's a Gary and Ken and Jason. I don't know who else doing this. Maybe I just volunteered Ken for something. But he's thumbing up, so that's good. So we have a team of students building basically a movie to overlay onto this show. That's more. Then we have props and costumes. Those kind of fall under Jeff. I always forget someone. This is the worst plan.
Okay. Someone will text me if you've forgotten someone right now, and I'll look at my phone and we'll thank them.
Okay. Oh, Larry Miller.
Larry Miller, there we go.
Larry Miller is lighting and
but I won't look
wonderful.
At my phone because of the cell phone policy. Anyway, go on.
That's right. We have a no cell phone policy too.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's important. So those, I think, that covers you know, a lot of adults.
Okay. 2 more questions.
Okay.
One is, why Amelie?
You know what? You asked a question earlier about why the arts, and actually, this is a film. It was a French film that came out when I was in high school, and it was so inspiring and creative and artistic. And I just remember feeling like, how does somebody do that? I was just it moved my heart, it moved my mind. So this show was a big, you know, it was pretty pivotal for me going into college. When they turned it into a musical 6, 7 years ago, however long, I was just hopeful that it wasn't bad, like that they didn't, you know. But the music is equally as magical as the show. So the content of this story is sort of talked a little bit about. There's some childhood trauma. There's some neglect. Basically, it's about everybody's carrying something. Everybody's carrying suffering, and I've been teaching for 15 years, and it seems like there's a trend to be defined by our suffering or identify with it, and what we watch Amelie do, and then what she does for her community is we watch how that is broken and how healing happens through altruism. She does kind things for other people, through anonymity. She's not, you know, seeking any light on herself. And basically, it's just sort of like it's very charming, it's whimsical, it's imaginative, it's light, but underneath that are some pretty valid issues that happen. So when we have trauma, what that leads to, and when we isolate as adults, as our brains continue to form, and how that challenges human connection, and how she, you know, comes out of that. I think it's, especially coming out of a worldwide pandemic, it seemed like an appropriate message.
I appreciate that, and I feel like as a principal, sometimes I'm thinking about a message that I want our students to hear. The idea, I think there's a lot of times in our lives, and particularly in our adolescence, where we're walking around and we're like, oh, that person's happy, that person's happy, that person's happy. Why am I the only one who can't seem to access that happiness right now? And I think we forget that that's part of the human experience, and just to reach out. I don't know, to reach out to others in this community. I can't say it enough. So anyway, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
All right. So how do we, and this is the last question, how do we honor the work that everyone has put into, how would a student honor the work of those who are in the theatrical production this fall? What's the best way to do that? I
mean, the easiest way to do that, obviously, is to come see it. I think, though, even just, you know, even just quietly supporting, you know, or, I mean, just having integrity around it is fine. And even if it's not your thing, you know, just to be okay with other people having their thing. But if they do want to go the extra step, I think that coming to see the show would be great. It would be great. It's in November, 11/11. We open, and if, I mean, the movie's rated R, but so if you're old enough, or if you have parents' permission to, or at least you can reference some scenes from the film, but that is a treat as well. So I hope people love the story.
Awesome. Let's do one last thing. No one in the school will do this with me. I'm trying to get the whole Red Hawk call out. So it's like that. Do you want to try that?
No.
But you could try. But I tried singing.
That doesn't sound vocally healthy, though. That is not something that you should do to your voice.
Okay, maybe.
This went the other way for you. Not only am I not doing it.
You're refusing, like all of the students.
I'm going to try to squash it. No, I won't.
You're going to crush it.
No.
What if you did it with like a nice musical, like What would a hawk sound like?
Demonstrate what that might be.
Like something, I don't know, but you could do it better because you're a singer.
I don't
I mean,
think
we're all
that's gonna
singers,
happen.
right?
That's
We're all
right.
singers,
we
but-
come out screaming.
Well, give me
and
a
singing.
little. It's not going to happen, is it?
No,
All
I
right.
don't think
Hey,
so.
I tried. I tried with all of you. Adding to the 1,350 students and 200 faculty members who refuse,
Right.
you are in good company.
Thank
Anyway.
you. Thanks for doing this.
Much love to you all, Red Hawks, and have an awesome Friday and weekend. Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks, Adam.